Hello again, and thanks for tuning in. Today I want to talk about receiving signs, and it could be signs from a recently departed loved one to just let you know that they're okay, but also signs from the universe guiding you in a certain direction. Is it something as easy as just a hummingbird flying at your window, or a dragonfly, if maybe your grandmother always loved butterflies, and there's these monarchs that fly around you all the time, and you know that that's her? That takes a certain stretch of belief, because if you need something that's more obvious, that's more extravagant, in order to make you believe it was a real sign, that's going to be harder and harder to get that sign to come through. The things that are easier for those in spirit and the world in general to produce are things that are in nature. The things that are in nature are full of life force energy, and that life force energy is very abundant once you cross over to the other side, so they can actually tap into that and make things happen. Does it mean that they're going to make a little blue jay magically appear out of thin air? No, that blue jay probably already existed somewhere, but they can coerce that energy into being such that it will fly past you at the right time and everything will click, right? Same kind of thing I always get into with people that show me photographs with orbs in them, and they believe that this is someone in spirit that's with them, and then when I looked into it, I'm like, well, it seems to be that it's because of the light reflecting from the camera flash on a digital camera off of some dust particle, right? And that's what's really happening. But the fact that it's placed in a photograph in just a certain way at a meaningful event, it could be like a baptism or a marriage, and it's that little orb, and you go, that's my grandma. It's the same kind of thing as seeing like a hawk flying overhead. Did those in spirit make that thing magically appear, or did they move that dust particle and align the camera just right so that that little orb flash appears at just the right time? That I do believe. But taking off from that point, there's people that report to me seeing little orbs out of the corner of their eye, a little point of flash of light. It's kind of in your peripheral vision. It comes and goes, you know. I definitely believe that that's someone in spirit. When it happens to me, it gets my attention right away. Take note, if that happens to you, of the color that it is. Oftentimes it's white, but sometimes it'll be a little bit of a blue. I've heard of red flashes, and it just pinpoint opens this little window between this world, and that light from that place is shining through, and that's why you're seeing it as that color or that radiance, and it kind of just out of the corner of your eye comes and goes. That's definitely someone in spirit. And beyond just things in nature, kind of a next level obvious sign has to do with little fine technology, right? Cell phones, TVs, things that have very fine instrumentation can be easily manipulated by those in spirit. So is someone in spirit able to turn off or on your 1950s clothing iron? Not as easy to do as make your phone start glitching, or the TV come on and off, right? Or even an old light bulb to flicker off and on when you walk past it. Cell phones ringing where it says, you know, mom is calling, and you answer and there's nobody there, and it's a missed call, and you go to call it back, and it has some error message, and you're like, I know what I just saw. What was that? Crazy things happen with technology, and that's one of those more obvious signs. When people see stuff like that, they tend to get really freaked out, and it's meaningful, and they'll tell other people about it, right? And then the really next level stuff, the signs that really defy coincidence and cause you to stop and be totally freaked for a minute, are things that have something specific to do with someone in spirit, right? Maybe it's like their name, their birthday, their favorite song. Maybe it's a saying that they said that pops up on a billboard as you're driving past. Things that are really specific and unique to someone in spirit to pierce through reality, get your attention, and make you see it. That's pretty meaningful. To get those signs, you just have to be open to it, right? But again, being open to it means believing those little less obvious signs are genuinely signs from someone in spirit. Once you make that creative leap in your head, it will open you up to seeing the more remarkable signs around you. So let's break some of these down a little more. Some of the more common ones would be like finding coins. Sometimes in readings I'll tell people, oh, you know, it's Joe. He's with you, and he leaves coins on the ground whenever he's around. It's just a side effect of his presence. There's literally a phrase, pennies from heaven, right? It's just to let you know that they're okay. And then the next level from that that is what I call the dime thing. The dime thing is super weird. If it's happened to you or anyone you know, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's not just finding coins, it's finding a single dime. And the more that you find these single dimes, the more they'll happen in really weird places. I've heard stories of people washing their hair in the shower and a dime comes out. It's like, where did the dime come from? How did that happen? Or you change the bed linens on your bed and you're folding it out and you're wiping clean the bedspread, and then you go to put the pillows on and you look back and there's a dime laying right in the middle of the bed. I've heard all kinds of stories about this dime thing, and to me what it means, it's greater than just coins on the ground. It means that there's someone in spirit that's on a very high up level, right? They're breaking through reality with an angelic presence, a broader perspective to bring you love, right? So it's not just showing you I'm okay, it's trying to bring the abundant love and joy of heaven to your life directly in that moment. So watch what's going on in your mind when you get a sign like coins on the ground, or especially the single dime thing. Because whatever's happening in your mind right then, they're either trying to interrupt bad thinking, or they're trying to promote good thinking. Maybe you're having a good thought and they're like, yes, that, do more of that. But this brings me to a good point of, what do the signs mean? What are they trying to tell you? And 99% of the time, they're just trying to bring some of that joy and love of the afterlife to you in that moment. Oftentimes when people get a dramatic, obvious sign, they're left confused, like, is someone trying to tell me something? I always think like, yeah, the money is under the floorboard, under the stairs, right? That's what they're trying to tell you. But no, that's kind of Hollywood movie-like, right? In reality, it's not a message of, I won't be at peace until you spread those ashes over the Grand Canyon. It's not a specific take action thing. It's more of just a general sense of bringing you love, peace, and tranquility deep within, that they want to interrupt whatever train of thought is going on right then and bring in love in that moment. Another one of those next level things is when people look at the clock and it's always the same time, right? Some people have this thing with 11:11 or repeating numbers like 12:12 or 1 2 3 4. I had a thing for a long time with 3 3 6. I would wake up in the middle of the night, look over at the clock, and it would be 3 3 6 again, and I'm like, what the heck? Why does this keep happening? We can dive into numerology and what these numbers mean, but in essence, in a general sense, it means that there is some higher up being, an angelic presence, trying to bring you this deep spiritual harmony in that moment, to let you know that everything's okay. There's no mistakes. This is part of the big plan. You are deeply loved right now, where you are and who you are. Other unmistakable signs would be if you're walking down the hallway and you catch a whiff of something. When you smell something, you know what you smelled, right? It could be cigarette smoke in your house when nobody smokes in your house and no one's had a cigarette in there for years. So you smell it, you know what you smelled. That's a definite and obvious sign that someone in spirit is present who maybe used to be a smoker in life, and they're picking up that scent, right? Same thing with like someone's old perfume. It triggers a memory. As soon as you smell it, you know what it is. You equate it with that person. It's undeniable, right? When somebody gets a little blobby figure out of the corner of their eye, they'll be like, oh, that could be nothing. That's just a trick of the eye. There is no saying that's a trick of the nose. It doesn't exist because your nose doesn't get tricked. It knows what it smells. Another one is hearing things that aren't there, right? There's a clairaudience, which is from the root word audio, right? It means clear hearing, just like clairvoyance is clear seeing. And episodes of clairaudience tend to happen as you're drifting off to sleep. Maybe you're jumping in the shower and you thought you heard somebody talking. It's usually when you're in this kind of reflective, meditative state that you'll get this little snap, right? So hearing your own name being spoken is a surefire sign that someone in spirit is willfully trying to connect to you to let you know that everything's okay. But there's also clairaudience when you just hear a background conversation. It's like you're sensing people are in the room talking. This is awareness of spirit presences that aren't willfully, deliberately trying to connect to you. They're just hanging out. So when these things happen, I think it's important that we talk about it with other people, your friends, your family. Just bring it up. Who cares if they think you're crazy? crazy. You'll be surprised how many other people also get signs unique to them. Thank you again for watching. If you had signs from someone in spirit and you'd like to share your experience, comment below right on the video here. Let other people know what's going on and help them share their stories. See you next week. But along with Grandmom came her 2 sisters, her 3 brothers, and your aunt, and they're all hanging out together talking because that's where Grandmom is, and they just go where she is. Just roll with it. You can clearly tell them, hey, quiet down, I need to get to sleep. They will listen to that. That's very effective, actually.